Hi, welcome back to the shop. This is Andrew, and today we're going to do a little estate sailing, I guess I should call it, or eBay sailing. It's where I look on eBay and go to estate sales and look for good tools that need a new home and that need to be put back into good use. So I have a couple of tools I'm going to show off today. I'm going to set the table up here to my side and I'll turn the camera so you can get a nice tight shot. It's a really interesting and in one case very old tool. They're going to show off and talk about it a little bit, give a little history, and go back from there. Okay, so first tool, I found this actually at an estate sale initially, and it was unfortunately shipped in just a typical Priority Mail plastic bag, and in the process of shipping, the barcode was almost completely destroyed, and so the UPS or the USPS postal delivery person refused to deliver it, even though the address was clear on the label. So for whatever bizarre reason, she couldn't read the barcode and she refused to deliver it, so I had to go to the post office just to go pick it up. But anyway, the first part though that I found at this estate sale was just like that. Can you see that? So it's a set of these steel pieces here, and then some wrenches and some cylindrical shaped pieces. And I looked at it and I walked by. I didn't think it would be a useful tool in my workshop. And I walked by and I kept on walking, and I actually had to come back a couple days later, actually, because they were having a final closeout on this estate sale and everything was being sold even cheaper, and I went back and it was still there. And so I opened up the lid again. It's a wooden box with an old belt handle strap. Looks like somebody took an old belt off of their pants and they cut off 6 inches and nailed it on, literally. So the nails come through the bottom that holds the belt on there. That's what they use for a handle. I wouldn't try to carry it these days with that. And then the inside is very dirty, very greasy. It obviously got a lot of use during its life. But I did recognize inside that each piece, is that showing up in the camera? I don't know. But each piece has threads on the side. Yeah. Let me do a little refocusing so you can see it. Yeah, so you can kind of see what it looks like. And then there's numbers. So 1R and then 1R, referencing a 1-inch pipe thread. That's what this kit was for here. And there's another set, 1/2. And here's the companion. So it's 2 parts of a 1/2 inch pipe threading. And then 3/8. There's a pair for 3/8. Do a 3/8 inch pipe. And then finally, this one here is a 1/4 inch. So I had 4 sets of die in the kit. I thought, well, that's interesting. So I got it for nothing. The people who selling it were just trying to divest the estate, and so they were letting all this stuff go for nothing. They didn't know what it was. And so I went ahead and picked up the box and brought it home and looked at it a few times and realized that it actually might be a really useful tool. And then over here, this cylinder has got a hole in it, and there's embossing, or is that debossing, that says 1-4, so I assume that's referencing a 1/4 inch pipe. Does that correspond? That could be. Looks like it's just about right. 1/4 inch. There's another one, much larger, with the number 1 right on there. Here's a smaller one. I can't actually read it, but let's see. Oh, 1/2. Yeah, 1/2 written right in there. And then there's one more. It's a lot of grease and dirt. 3/8. So 3 cylinders. And this one has lots of radial scratching on the inside. This one got a lot of use. 3/8 right there. Very interesting. So got home and was looking at it, and I noticed some of them were stamped. So this one says Genuine Armstrong. It's stamped right down there. Genuine Armstrong. Yeah, Genuine Armstrong. And it came with a couple of wrenches that also say Armstrong right there. And so I was intrigued. I had never seen a threading kit like this, a die set like this before, that it was somehow adjustable. But this is all that was there. This is all that was in the box, and they didn't have anything else that corresponded to this there at the estate sale. So I started doing some research online, and I found various folks on eBay that were selling these as complete kits, including the holder where the die goes. So then I thought, well, maybe I can find just a holder and not have to buy anything else, and then I'd have a usable kit. And so finally on eBay I found this monster, and it came with a 3/4 inch thread with the 3/4 inch holder. So now I've got a complete set with 5 different threads that I can do, and it's all in good shape. It's a little rusty, a little dirty, greasy, and dusty, but it's complete. It's got the screws on the side, and you use these wrenches to adjust the screws, and that's how there's little alignment marks right here and here. So there's an alignment mark on the tool, and then alignment mark on the die piece that you line up there and there, and use these side screws to position that perfectly, and then use the top screw to tighten it down so they won't move anymore. And that's how you do that. And then likewise, there's a little thumb screw here that you use to remove this part, and that's how you set up this part so that you can put a pipe in and thread it. So that's what that was for. And then on the ends are threaded holes, there we go, where handles can go. See there, little handles can go in there. And I thought, well, gee whiz, I think I have some 3/4 inch pipe lying around. So sure enough, I went back in the back, and I've got a bunch of different kinds of scraps of this and that that I've used over the last year and a half as I've remodeled this property. And I have a few pieces of 3/4 inch pipe. And these were used as posts in the ground to hold up some fence that was in the corner of the yard or something. And I've disassembled it now, and it's a 3/4 inch pipe, threaded, and there's already a thread in the tool. So here I can actually thread in this handle on that side, and then likewise over here I can thread in the other handle. Something like that. And now you can see, let me adjust the camera angle just a little bit. Give it a little more angle. There we go. So now you can see there's a massive tool here. It's really huge. And you can make these handles as long as you need to if you really need to get some leverage. If you're cutting some pipe, you put the pipe into a pipe clamp, like this one I just restored recently. You take a pipe and you put the pipe in the clamp, just like that, tighten it down, And this is what they used to do. This is what my dad used to do. He owned a bunch of apartments up in LA, and he was constantly having to work on pipes in the house, and it was a tough job. But he would have to use this, which he had on a mobile rig, and he had a different kind of a threading tool, and he would use it like this, to thread the pipe. That's what he would do. And this is what they used it for. So I thought, well, how cool is that? So here right now I've got a complete pipe threading set. Now I've got this is my dad's old pipe clamp, and I've got this threading tool now with really long handles that I can actually now thread just about anything. So the only thing that's missing is this is not the original box. I've found a few listings online that show pictures, photos of the original box that this tool would have come in, including handles, and then the handles would have been just a little bit longer than the actual tool. So this is probably about the right size for what the handles should be. So my plan is to actually see if I can get a measured drawing, or at least figure out what the right size should be for an actual box, and have a box made, including they usually have a couple of holes in the lid where these screws will protrude a little bit in order for this thing to rest down in the box, and then room for all the die bits and then the pipe holders and things. So, but I just want to share that. I thought that was kind of a cool little find, and my total out of pocket is maybe, I think, about $20 or $25 for everything. It's kind of cool. So the F. Armstrong Tool Company in Bridgeport, Connecticut, they were incorporated or founded in 1895, and they operated until about 1922, and then they were bought out by another company, and they started using their patents to produce these products. So it's hard to say just how old this particular die kit is. They don't put any date stamps, but it definitely does say F. Armstrong, made in USA, Bridgeport, Connecticut. So it's beautifully made cast iron tool, and but it has to be most likely in the 50s at the very latest. More likely 40s, something like that, just based on the casting of the tool. People wouldn't have used a tool like this later than that. I remember my father had an Armstrong threading tool, but it was a massive threading tool. In fact, I have one of his dies. I don't have the actual tool, but I have one of his dies. And I'll put a picture of that up here so you can see how that looked. That's a pretty impressive tool as well. Anyway, so that's that one. Let me reset the camera and we'll do the other tool demonstration. Okay, so here for part 2 of today's video. This is another tool I found actually on eBay. It was going, and nobody was bidding on it. And I thought, well, this would be a useful tool for working on the vices that I've been doing. I've got a few vices I've been refurbishing, and my existing tool that I've been using has been okay, but I thought that this would do a better job, especially when I need to refurbish the face of the jaws of the vise. And so this is the tool. It's called a face mill, but it's a shell face mill. Face mill because you use this surface to cut away the surface of a larger piece. This one's a 6-inch diameter face mill, and you can use it to clean the surface of a large piece of steel or aluminum or any kind of a metallic surface, or even wood if you really wanted to. It uses TPG 432 triangular cutting teeth, and when I ordered it, you can see the silver ones that were here, those were shattered, but the ones that are still here, there's 5. These 5 were actually in okay shape. They still had a good TPG 432, which describes the size and the radius of this cutting tooth, those are still in good shape. And then I found another fellow who was selling a set of these TPG 432 cutting chips for really inexpensive. Now, of course, the gold ones are titanium plated, and so they're a little tougher, whereas these ones are just carbon steel, so they're not quite as tough. But for what I want to do, I think they'll be fine. The next set of jaws that I'm going to mill are actually not very hard, so I think this will actually do those just fine. But the reason you want a bigger shell mill like this is when you finish with the new surface of the jaw, it'll have a real large, 6-inch diameter radius that it cuts into the face. So the only thing better than this would be to use like a surface grinder, because then you would get just a perfect surface. But I don't own a surface grinder, and even if I had one, I don't know where I would put it, because it's kind of a big machine. Anyway, so the way it works though is it's got an arbor that you have to put inside the back here. This is an 1.5 inch diameter hole, and it's got 5/8 inch width teeth or keys that go into the slot. So I found one back on eBay. Once I got it in the workshop here, I was able to measure it correctly just to make sure I had the right size figured out. And so here's an 1.5 inch diameter, which is the black portion here. And then these teeth, which are adjustable, are 5/8 inch wide on both sides, and so they just slip right into there. It's a very tight fit, so it's a real nice, concise fit. There it goes, drops right into the slot. Yeah, just like that. And then it comes with a big screw, yeah, shaped like that. And the screw goes inside of the face here, and it requires a very large Allen wrench, 3/8. So this is a 3/8 inch Allen wrench in order to tighten it up. Get the screw all the way in there. And then I don't know what these should be torqued to be safe, so I'll tap it for now. But for what I'm doing, I don't think it's going to be too critical. It has to be safe. It's got the keyways on the back to keep the mill stable on the arbor. So I think I'll be just fine with that. And it's an R8 arbor, so it'll go right into my mill. So I'm ready for that. So probably by this weekend, I hope, if everything else can be gotten worked on. We have a lot of projects, of course. I'm going to set this up into the mill, and I've already got one of the jaws in the Kurt Weiss standing by ready to go, and we're going to mill that thing with this tool and see what happens. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a few days, and we'll try that. But that's the two tools I wanted to show off today.
This is my airplane.
Yeah, when did you make it?
Today, right now.
Yeah. Can you tell me about it?
I built it all myself.
Mm-hmm.
Then Daddy cut the wood, and Daddy cut the triangle for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this wood from there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Good. What part is this?
The wing.
Mm-hmm. What is this?
The tail.
Mm-hmm. What's this called, this part?
I don't know.
Fuselage.
I put like the chairs with people.
You love the chairs. Good job, buddy.
No, you don't.
That's going to do for the video. Please do like and share. You want to say like and share? And subscribe to our channel. We have lots of projects going on all the time, and I would love to share them all with you. And most importantly, please do subscribe to our channel. And then until we see you next time, this is Andrew and from where?
Where does Steve work?
Nowhere Tustin Steve Works. Were you doing it while I was making the video?
Yes.
Whoa! Hang on.